Peppa Pig may seem harmless, but under the bright colors lies a bizarre, broken universe full of disturbing secrets. Number 1. The narrator is a government spy, watching the town. There's something off about the narrator in Peppa Pig. He doesn't just tell us what's happening, he somehow knows everything. He knows when Peppa's angry, he knows when George feels sad. Sometimes he even says things before the characters do them, like he's seen it all already. That's not just storytelling, that's surveillance. And here's the weirdest part. Characters sometimes change their behavior right after he speaks. It's like they can hear him. One moment they're upset, and then he says something gentle, and suddenly they're fine. It almost feels like he's controlling their emotions, like a handler calming down a test subject. If this was just a normal narrator, he'd stay neutral. But this one sounds too involved, too informed, like he's reporting back to someone else. What if Peppa's world is part of some bigger experiment? What if this isn't a show? It's a simulation. Every house on a hill, every giggle that ends with falling over, all monitored by the same soothing voice. Who is this guy? A friendly storyteller? Or a watchful agent making notes on every tiny move? The more you think about it, the creepier it gets. Maybe the narrator isn't telling the story. Maybe he's watching it for someone. And you know what the golden nugget of wisdom is here? Now tell me this in the comments. If your life had a narrator, what would they be saying about you right now? Alright, moving on. The next theory explains something even creepier, and almost no one's talking about it. Number 2. There are no teenagers because they don't survive childhood. In the world of Peppa Pig, everyone seems to fall into one of two groups: small children like Peppa, George, and their classmates, or fully grown adults like Mummy Pig, Daddy Pig, and the other parents. But strangely, there is no middle stage. Teenagers simply do not exist. The only character who appears slightly older is Peppa's cousin Chloe. She visits for a few episodes, acts more mature, and then vanishes. No middle schoolers, no teenagers hanging out, just babies and adults. It feels like the entire age group in between has been quietly erased. So what happens when kids grow up? Do they age overnight into adults? Or is something stopping them from ever getting there? There's another strange moment that adds to this theory. In several episodes, the same exact group of kids appears in the same class year after year. No one ever moves up a grade, no new students arrive, and no older students leave. It's like time is frozen, or worse, repeating itself. Maybe Peppa's world is trapped in a cycle where no child is allowed to grow past a certain point. Maybe growing up isn't possible. Or maybe something happens when they do, and no one is willing to talk about it. If teenagers never appear, we have to wonder, is that by design? Or because they don't survive long enough to be seen? Number 3. Miss Rabbit doesn't have clones. She has a split personality. Miss Rabbit does everything in Peppa Pig. She drives the bus, runs the gift shop, flies the rescue helicopter, and even works at the ice cream stand. For a while, people thought she must have clones. That would make sense, right? But there's one problem with that idea. We never see any of them in the same place at the same time. It's always just her. One Miss Rabbit jumping from job to job like she never needs sleep. But if you watch closely, you'll notice something strange. Sometimes she seems confused. She forgets where she is or acts like she's doing a completely different job. In a few episodes, she even shows signs of being overwhelmed or spaced out, like her brain is slipping into something else. So maybe the issue isn't clones. Maybe Miss Rabbit is switching identities without even knowing it. One moment, she's a cashier, and the next, she's a nurse. Like she's waking up in the middle of someone else's shift. And the scariest part? Nobody says anything. The entire town just accepts it. Is she the most reliable worker in town? Or someone silently falling apart while everyone smiles and waves? Number 4. Peppa's family is an experiment, and they know it. Something feels fake about Peppa Pig's world. Everything looks simple and friendly on the surface, but when you look a little closer, things stop making sense. Every house is built high up on a hill. Every laugh ends with someone falling over. The rules of this world feel more programmed than natural. What if that's because none of it is real? There's a theory that Peppa's family, and maybe the whole town, is part of a massive experiment. The hills might not be for scenery. They could be separate test zones. Each family, isolated. Each house, controlled. The strange behavior when characters laugh might be a glitch in the system. And the narrator? He doesn't just tell the story, he monitors it like someone checking on progress reports. Daddy Pig is an engineer, and that might not be just a regular job. What if he's not just part of the test, but helping run it? Maybe he knows more than he lets on. Maybe the others do too, and they're just playing along. If everyone's trapped in a simulation, pretending everything is normal, then the question becomes, how long until someone breaks the script? Number 5. Post-human world. Peppa's ancestors ate the last human. Peppa Pig's world might seem silly and harmless, but the deeper you look, the more it feels like something went very, very wrong. In this world, animals walk, talk, and live like humans. They drive cars, go to school, and celebrate holidays. But here's the weird part. Some animals are still just animals. Ducks don't talk, turtles stay in cages, and Polly the parrot is a pet. Why are some animals intelligent while others aren't? It gets creepier when you realize that humans barely exist. The only time we ever see one is when a guy in a Santa suit shows up. And even then, he doesn't seem fully human, more like a leftover piece of a world that's already gone. So what happened? Where did all the humans go? Some believe that Peppa's world exists in the aftermath of our own. It may have come long after cities collapsed, after language evolved in new ways, and after animals stopped obeying humans and began taking over. Maybe humans didn't just vanish. Maybe they were wiped out or eaten. Mr. Potato walks and talks, and so do Mrs. Carrot, Blueberry, Sprout, and even Hash Brown. But outside of them, other vegetables stay completely silent. Something about this place still feels like it's running on the remains of a lost civilization. Maybe the pigs didn't replace the humans, maybe they finished them. Number 6. Daddy Pig is hiding a rejected piglet in a secret room. A while ago, the official Peppa Pig wallpaper showed something odd. The family stood outside their home, but in the window behind them, there was a 5th piglet visible through the window. It is not George, and it is definitely not Peppa. So, who is it? Then, there's the episode where Mummy Pig appears clearly pregnant. It's shown, acknowledged, and then completely ignored. No baby ever arrives, and no one ever mentions it again. Later, Peppa mentions having a scar, though the show never shows it. And in one moment with Susie Sheep, things get even stranger. Susie brings over an old baby photo of herself. Peppa seems confused and insists she's never been a baby. The two argue, but Peppa stays firm. She then asks Mummy Pig if she was ever small. Mummy Pig shows her a baby photo and says it was taken the day they moved in. Daddy Pig joins and confirms the story. We see a flashback of that moment, and there's a tiny piglet in the back seat. But something is off. That piglet isn't in a car seat, even though Peppa's world usually follows safety rules. If that wasn't baby Peppa, then who was it? With Daddy Pig's builder skills, a secret room would be easy to hide. And maybe that missing piglet never left the house. Maybe they weren't allowed to. Number 7. Where are the other pig families? Peppa's might be the last. The town is full of animals. Rabbits, elephants, cats, dogs, and everything in between. Every classroom, every shop, and every park is crawling with different species. But when you really start paying attention, you notice something strange. There is only one pig family. Just Peppa, George, Mummy Pig, and Daddy Pig. That's it. Where are the other pigs? Why don't we see pig teachers, shopkeepers, or random pig classmates? Every other animal group has extended families and background characters. We see herds of rabbits, entire elephant families, and enough wolves to throw a party. But Peppa's family stands completely alone. It's hard not to wonder why. Are pigs rare in this universe? Were they wiped out somehow? Or worse, did Peppa's family do something that caused them to be isolated? Maybe they are not just the last pig standing. Maybe they were the reason the others vanished. That would explain the way the town treats them. Always polite, always careful, like they know something they're not saying. There's also the way Peppa's family seems oddly privileged. They live on a hill, separate from others. They are always involved in town events. Everyone seems to know them. It could be respect, or it could be fear. If Peppa's family is the last of their kind, then this isn't just a children's show. It's a story about survival, isolation, and maybe quiet guilt. We've just scratched the surface of what might really be happening in Peppa Pig's world. If you had to live in Peppa's universe, would you feel safe or trapped? Comment below, share this with a friend who'd freak out, and make sure you're subscribed for more creepy cartoon content.